The summer breeze carried the scent of pine through my childhood home in Portland's suburbs, where I, Nathan Carter, 34, stood in the living room, staring at a wall plastered with my younger brother Ethan's faded soccer ribbons. The house, a split-level relic of the '80s, was quiet except for the hum of the AC and my parents' voices drifting from the kitchen. I'd flown in from Seattle, where I worked as a software engineer, to visit for the 4th of July weekend. It had been years since I'd spent more than a day here, and the visit was already stirring old wounds. My wife, Lauren, 32, was back in Seattle, settling into our new condo, unaware of the storm about to upend our lives. Growing up, I was the only child for 8 years, basking in a typical suburban life: family hikes in the Columbia Gorge, backyard barbecues, and my parents' pride in my mathlete trophies. My mom, Diane, was a school nurse. My dad, Paul, a city planner. They weren't perfect, but they showed up until Ethan arrived. I was 9 when he was born, a squalling bundle who shifted the family's gravity overnight. Suddenly, my achievements, science fair wins, coding camps faded into the background. Ethan's every milestone, from his first word to his finger paintings, was a masterpiece. By middle school, I was building a robot for a state competition, coding late into the night. I won first place, but my parents missed it for Ethan's Pee-wee soccer game. His participation ribbon got a frame. My trophy gathered dust in the garage. It wasn't just neglect. Ethan was a tornado. Tantrums that shattered dishes, skipped classes, and petty theft from neighbors by high school. My parents excused it all. He's spirited, Diane would say, just finding his way. Meanwhile, I was held to an impossible standard. A B+ in chemistry earned a lecture about focus. Ethan's failing grades were a phase. When I turned 16, I worked 2 jobs, tutoring and a tech shop, to save for college. Ethan got a shiny Jeep at 16. No questions asked. He crashed it in a month, and they replaced it. My parents called it building his confidence. I called it favoritism. College at Oregon State was my escape. I thrived, publishing AI research by junior year and landing a prestigious internship in Tokyo. My parents barely noticed. Ethan's latest drama, getting expelled from his second high school, consumed them. Tokyo was a revelation. I was Nathan, not Ethan's brother. After graduation, I took a job in Seattle with a tech startup, climbing to lead engineer by 30. My parents skipped my graduation. Ethan had a job interview at a vape shop. Their calls were rare, always about Ethan's crises: fired again, in debt, or dodging a lawsuit over a failed business. Then I met Lauren. It was 2019, at a Seattle bookstore where I fumbled my coffee order in front of her. She laughed, helped me sort it out, and we talked for hours about sci-fi novels and her job teaching history at a private school. Lauren was grounded, ambitious, with a wit that kept me on my toes. She listened when I geeked out about code, shared my wanderlust, and wanted a partner, not a savior. We married in Twinoni, a small ceremony on a Puget Sound beach with her family and our friends. My parents couldn't come. Ethan was struggling after another scam fell apart. I was relieved. Their absence kept the day pure. Life in Seattle was everything I'd dreamed: a waterfront condo, weekend trips to Vancouver, and a promotion to head a new AI division. Lauren and I were planning for kids, maybe a move to a house with a yard. I thought I'd left the family chaos behind. But in 2021, my company opened a Portland office and asked me to lead it, a massive raise and a chance to grow. Lauren was thrilled, eager for a new adventure. I hesitated. Portland meant proximity to my family, but I figured distance and time had dulled the old dynamics. I was wrong. We settled into a bungalow in Portland's Hawthorne district, a vibrant neighborhood of cafes and craftsman homes. Diane texted when we arrived, asking if we were safe. I took it as a sign she cared until she mentioned Ethan had moved back to Portland after tanking another startup in Denver. He'd swindled a couple out of 20,000 for a fake app, spending it on a motorcycle and club nights. Typical Ethan. I kept my distance, focusing on work and Lauren's new teaching job. Then, Ethan resurfaced. It started with texts. Yo, big bro, heard you're back. Let's hang. Then, emails. Long-winded apologies about our childhood. Claiming therapy had changed him. He wanted to be family. I ignored him. But he found my office, loitering in the lobby until security called me. Lauren thought I was too harsh. He's reaching out, she said. Maybe he's grown. I hadn't told her the worst of Ethan's history restraining orders. Scams because it felt like dragging my shame into our marriage. Her optimism was naive but endearing, so I stayed silent. Ethan's charm worked on her. He sent her messages, praising my success, saying he wanted to earn my trust. Lauren urged me to give him a chance. People change, she insisted, against my gut. I relented when she invited him for dinner without asking. I came home to find him on my couch, grinning like he owned the place, with a bottle of wine I knew he couldn't afford. I was livid but stayed calm for Lauren's sake. Ethan played the reformed sibling, asking about my projects, apologizing for past mistakes with crocodile tears. Lauren ate it up. I watched him like a hawk. He started visiting when I was at work, claiming he was keeping Lauren company as she adjusted to Portland. I was swamped, setting up the new office, hiring staff, and missed the signs. In March 2022, I flew to Seattle for a week to train my replacement. Lauren said Ethan could help her paint the guest room. I installed security cameras standard for travel and asked neighbors to check in. Ethan sent photos of them at breweries or parks, always with my parents, captioned with gratitude for family time. It looked wholesome, but something gnawed at me. Back in Portland, Lauren announced she was pregnant at a family dinner. My heart soared. Our dream of a family was real. Diane and Paul gushed, planning nurseries. But Ethan's reaction chilled me. He smirked, saying, "This family's growing in the best ways." His tone too familiar. I brushed it off, caught in the joy. But his presence grew invasive. He'd show up uninvited, joking about our baby being a fighter. Lauren dismissed my concerns. "He's excited," she said. "You're overthinking." Then I noticed the cameras weren't recording. An error had wiped a week's footage odd. Since they backed up to the cloud, Lauren's phone was always face down. She'd end calls when I entered. Ethan knew our kitchen layout too well. One sleepless night, I checked the cloud backups. The footage was a gut punch. Ethan kissing Lauren in our kitchen the day I left for Seattle. Their closeness escalating daily. They cooked together, laughed, touched like lovers. Hallway clips showed them entering our bedroom, emerging hours later. I saved every clip, my hands shaking. Ethan hadn't changed. He'd targeted my wife, my home, and Lauren had let him in. The betrayal was raw, casual, like they'd done it before. I wasn't just invisible to my parents anymore. I was invisible in my own marriage. The Portland summer hummed with life outside my Hawthorne bungalow, where roses bloomed and food carts lined the streets. Inside, the air was thick with betrayal. I sat in my home office, the glow of my laptop screen casting shadows as security footage played on a loop. Ethan kissing Lauren in our kitchen, their laughter echoing through my home while I was in Seattle. The clips, pulled from cloud backups, showed a week of escalating intimacy. Ethan cooking dinner, their hands brushing, late-night visits to our bedroom. My hands shook as I saved every file to a secure drive, rage and grief warring in my chest. Lauren, my partner of 3 years, and Ethan, the brother who'd always taken what wasn't his, had turned my life into a nightmare. I hadn't slept since discovering the footage last night. Lauren was asleep in our bed, Oblivious to the storm brewing, I'd called in sick to work, unable to face my team while my world crumbled. The security system's error that erased a week's recordings wasn't an accident, someone had tampered with it. Lauren's secretive phone habits, Ethan's smug familiarity with our home, all pointed to a calculated affair. I wasn't just betrayed, I was played. And the pregnancy announcement at last week's family dinner, Lauren's joy. Ethan's cryptic smirk now felt like a twisted lie. Morning light filtered through the blinds as Lauren shuffled into the kitchen, humming as she brewed coffee. Her normalcy was a gut punch. I waited, steadying my breath, then called her into the office. "We need to talk," I said, my voice low, controlled. She frowned, tying her robe. "Everything okay? You look wrecked." I opened the laptop, hitting play on the kitchen clip. Ethan's lips on hers, her smile welcoming, her face drained of color, eyes wide as the footage looped. "Nathan, I can explain," she stammered, tears welling. "It's not what it looks like." "Really?" I said, my tone ice cold. "Because it looks like you let my brother into our home, our bed, while I was working to build our future." "Explain that." She sank into a chair, sobbing. "I was lonely. You were gone, always working. Ethan was just there. It wasn't planned. It just happened." Her words were textbook deflection, each one a knife. "He understands me," she added, softer, as if that justified it. I laughed, bitter and sharp. "Ethan, the guy who scams people for a living, who's never held a job longer than a bar tab, that's who understands you." Her lip trembled, but she didn't respond. I leaned forward, voice steady. "I trusted you, Lauren. I moved us here, supported your career, planned a family, and you throw it away for him." She reached for my hand, but I pulled back. "Please, Nathan, we can fix this. I love you." Her desperation was almost convincing, but the footage burned in my mind. I grabbed my phone, texting Ethan, "Come over, now." No context, just a command. He replied instantly, "On my way." "Bro." His casual tone fueled my anger. 20 minutes later, Ethan sauntered in, his grin faltering when he saw the laptop. The footage played, frame by frame, his hands on Lauren, their shared glances. He froze, eyes darting between me and the screen. "Bro, listen, you've got this all wrong," he started, his voice smooth, practiced. "It wasn't like that." "Then what was it?" I cut in, standing to face him. "How long?" "Ethan, how long have you been sneaking into my life like a damn thief?" Lauren sobbed louder, but Ethan tried to spin it. "It just happened. Rachel was lonely. Man, you're always at work, building your empire. She needed someone who could be there." He paused, then added, "If you'd been a better husband, maybe." I stepped closer, my voice a low growl. "Don't you dare. You think you can waltz in, take what's mine, and blame me. You're a parasite." "Ethan, always have been." His eyes flickered with fear, but he doubled down. "We're family, Nathan. We can work this out. For the baby." His mention of the pregnancy sent a chill through me. Lauren's claim it was mine rang hollow now. "Whose baby is it?" "Lauren," I asked, turning to her. She flinched, tears streaming. "Yours. I swear. It's yours." Her voice cracked, but doubt gnawed at me. Ethan's smirk at the dinner, his possessive comments about our baby, screamed otherwise. I pointed to the door. "Both of you, get out. Now." Lauren clutched my arm, pleading, "Nathan, please. We made a mistake. Don't throw us away." I shook her off, my voice final. "You threw us away. Go." Ethan grabbed his jacket, muttering, "You'll regret this." "Bro." Lauren followed, still crying. and the door slammed behind them. The silence was deafening, but my mind raced. I called Diane and Paul, hoping they'd finally see Ethan's true colors. I was wrong. Diane answered, her tone soft, patronizing. "Nathan, honey, you must have done something to push Lauren away. Ethan's been so good for her, keeping her company." I gripped the phone, stunned. "Are you serious? I have video of them together. Mom, in my house, and you're defending him." She sighed. "Ethan needs a stable influence. Lauren makes him happy. Maybe you were too focused on work, too distant. This could be a chance to rebuild as a family." I nearly laughed at the absurdity. "Rebuild? They betrayed me, and you're blaming me?" Paul chimed in, his voice gruff. "Be the bigger person, Nathan." Ethan's finally settling down. "Help them out until he's on his feet." "Help them," I snapped. "You want me to support the guy who slept with my wife? You've always chosen him. But this is insane." I hung up, their words echoing Ethan's manipulation. They weren't just blind, they were complicit. Then I found the bombshell, checking our joint accounts to secure my finances. I noticed unusual transfers filed $1,000 to an unknown account, dated during my Seattle trip. Digging deeper, I traced it to Ethan's Venmo, disguised as home repairs. Lauren had access to the account. She'd funneled money to him while I was gone. The betrayal wasn't just emotional, it was financial. I froze the accounts, contacted my bank's fraud department, and saved screenshots of every transaction. I called my friend, Sarah, a corporate lawyer in Seattle. "I need help," I said, voice shaking. "Divorce, fraud, everything." She listened as I recounted the footage, the transfers, my parents' reaction. "Nathan, you've got a case," she said. "Document everything. We'll build this airtight." That night, alone in the bungalow, I backed up the footage again, my resolve hardening. Ethan and Lauren had crossed a line, and Diane and Paul's enabling made them accomplices. The money transfers were a new wound. Proof. Lauren wasn't just unfaithful, she was complicit in Ethan's schemes. I wasn't just fighting for my marriage's end, I was fighting for justice. The confrontation had lit a fuse, and I was ready to let it burn. The August heat pressed against the windows of my Hawthorne bungalow, where I sat at the dining table, surrounded by bank statements and security footage screenshots. The Portland summer buzzed outside food carts serving tacos, cyclists weaving through the streets, but inside, my world was a battlefield. The confrontation with Lauren and Ethan a month ago, where I'd played the damning video of their affair, had shattered my marriage. Lauren's tears and Ethan's smug deflections were burned into my memory, as was Diane and Paul's infuriating defense of Ethan, blaming me for pushing Lauren into his arms. The discovery that Lauren had funneled $5,000 to Ethan from our joint account during my Seattle trip had turned betrayal into theft. Now, as I prepared for divorce with my lawyer, Sarah, my family was escalating their attack in a way I never saw coming. After kicking Lauren and Ethan out, I'd frozen our accounts, reported the fraudulent transfers, and moved Lauren's belongings to a storage unit. She'd texted relentlessly apologies, please, claims she'd made a mistake, but I blocked her number. Ethan sent one email, a half-hearted sorry laced with excuses, which I deleted. Diane and Paul's reaction was the real gut punch. Their insistence that I be the bigger person and support Ethan's happiness with Lauren was delusional, but I thought they'd back off after I hung up on them. I was wrong. Sarah called one muggy morning, her voice tense. "Nathan, your parents just filed a lawsuit against you. They're demanding financial support for Ethan and Lauren, claiming you have a familial obligation to help them during this transition. They're asking for $4,000 a month for Ethan's living expenses, $2,500 for Lauren's, and a $30 $1,000 investment for Ethan's latest startup idea. I stared at the phone, disbelief turning to fury. A lawsuit. They're suing me to bankroll the people who destroyed my life. The audacity was staggering. Ethan, who'd never held a job longer than a scam, and Lauren, who'd stolen from me, were now my parents' cause célèbre. It's worse, Sarah said. They're spinning a narrative. Diane's been calling family, saying you're controlling, that you drove Lauren away with your workaholic ways. They're claiming the security cameras prove you were paranoid, and Ethan was just comforting her. Some relatives are buying it. The betrayal cut deeper than the affair. My parents weren't just enabling Ethan, they were weaponizing him against me. I opened my laptop, pulling up the folder of evidence. Security footage, bank transfer records, Ethan's email. Sarah, can we fight this? I have proof of everything: the affair, the theft, Ethan's history of scams. Absolutely, she said. We'll countersue. And I'm digging into Ethan's past. If he's got a trail of fraud, we can bury him. Start reaching out to anyone he's scammed. We need their statements. I spent the day scouring social media and old court records, tracking down Ethan's victims. There was a couple in Denver who'd lost $20,000 to his fake app, a landlord he'd stiffed on rent, and a former classmate he'd conned into a business loan. I messaged them, explaining my situation, and several responded, eager to expose Ethan. One, a retired teacher, sent a detailed account of how Ethan had swindled her savings with a crypto startup. Each story was a mirror of his playbook: charm, lies, and betrayal. Work was my only refuge, but even that was tainted. As a software engineer leading Portland's new office, I was juggling deadlines and hires. But whispers of the drama reached my team. A coworker, Greg, pulled me aside after a meeting. Heard about your family stuff. Man, you okay? His concern was genuine, but it stung to know my private hell was public. I nodded, deflecting, but my focus wavered. Coding, once my escape, felt mechanical. My mind replaying Ethan's smirk, Lauren's tears. Then Lauren called, using a friend's phone to bypass my block. I answered, expecting more apologies, but her tone was sharp. Nathan, the baby's yours. You can't just walk away from us. We need you. Her words were a jolt, stirring hope and doubt. Was she telling the truth? Or was this another manipulation? If it's mine, prove it, I said. Get a paternity test. Silence stretched. Then she snapped. You don't trust me. After everything, you're questioning my child. Her refusal to agree was telling. Lauren, you slept with my brother. Trust is gone. Get the test, or we're done talking. She hung up, leaving me with a gnawing uncertainty. Ethan's possessive comments about our baby haunted me. Was he the father, or was Lauren playing us both? The rumors spread like wildfire. At a family friend's barbecue, my cousin Tara texted me, apologetic. Diane's telling everyone you're abusive, that you pushed Lauren into Ethan's arms with your cold attitude. Some aunts and uncles are siding with her. I don't believe it, but heads up. I thanked her, my chest tightening. My parents were rewriting history, painting me as the villain to protect their golden child. Even old high school friends messaged, asking if I was okay after hearing I'd driven my wife away. The isolation was suffocating, but Tara's loyalty and Sarah's legal strategy kept me grounded. Sarah uncovered more dirt. Ethan's startup was a sham, a website cobbled together with stolen code, pitched to naive investors. She found 3 more victims willing to testify, including a Portland bar owner who'd lost $10,000. We're building a class action case, Sarah said. Your parents' lawsuit won't stand once we show Ethan's a career con man. And Lauren's transfers. That's fraud. We're reporting it to the DA. Her confidence was a lifeline. but the pressure was relentless. Diane left voicemails, her voice dripping with guilt. "Nathan, we're family. Ethan's trying to build a life with Lauren. You're successful. Why can't you help them? Your father's heart can't take this stress." I deleted them, but each one chipped away at my resolve. Paul emailed, demanding I stop hiding behind lawyers and act like a son. Their entitlement was matched only by their denial. One night, unable to sleep, I walked to a nearby park, the city lights reflecting off the Willamette River. I'd spent my life trying to earn my parents' approval, only to be erased for Ethan's chaos. Now, they wanted my money, my silence, to prop up his lies. Lauren's refusal to take a paternity test gnawed at me. Was I about to lose a child? Or was this another scam? The river's calm didn't ease my anger, but it clarified my next move. I wasn't just fighting for divorce or money, I was fighting for my identity, my future. Sarah's plan was in motion, and I'd see it through, no matter who stood in my way. The September air in Portland carried a crisp edge, hinting at autumn as leaves began to dust the sidewalks of Hawthorne. Inside my bungalow, I sat at my desk, surrounded by a fortress of documents, bank records, victim statements, and security footage stills that mapped Ethan's trail of deceit. The past month had been a crucible. Lauren and Ethan's affair, exposed by my cameras, had shattered my marriage. Diane and Paul's lawsuit, demanding I financially support the duo's new family, had turned betrayal into absurdity. Lauren's claim that the baby was mine, coupled with her refusal to take a paternity test, left me grappling with doubt and fury. But with Sarah, my lawyer, by my side, I was done being the victim. The counterattack was underway, and it was surgical. Sarah's office, a sleek space downtown with views of the Willamette River, was our war room. She'd spent weeks building a class action lawsuit against Ethan, compiling testimonies from his victims, a Denver couple swindled out of $20,000, a Portland bar owner who lost $10,000, a retired teacher whose savings he'd drained. Each story echoed his pattern: charm, promises, ruin. "We've got 8 plaintiffs so far," Sarah said, flipping through a binder, "and I've traced Lauren's $5,000 transfer to Ethan's Venmo. It's fraud. Plain and simple. The DA's reviewing it, and her school's ethics board is sniffing around her teaching license." I leaned back, the weight of her words grounding me. What about my parents' lawsuit? They're still pushing for $4,000 a month for Ethan, $2,500 for Lauren, and that $30,000 for his fake startup. Sarah smirked. "Their case is flimsy. We'll show the court. Ethan's a career conman, and your parents have enabled him for years. Diane's been depositing money into his accounts to dodge creditors' bank statements prove it. Their lawsuit's about to backfire." Her confidence was infectious, but the emotional toll was heavy. Diane's rumors had spread like wildfire, painting me as a controlling workaholic who'd driven Lauren into Ethan's arms. At a tech meetup, a colleague, Mia, asked if I was holding up after family drama. I brushed it off, but the pity in her eyes stung. Old friends stopped calling, swayed by Diane's tales of my coldness. Only my cousin Tara and a few coworkers, like Greg, stood by me, their loyalty a lifeline in the storm. Then came the bombshell. One of Ethan's victims, a former classmate named Jenna, had become a journalist for a local paper, the Portland Mercury. I'd contacted her about Ethan's scams, and she responded with fire. He conned my parents out of $15,000 for a music festival that never happened. She wrote, "I've been waiting to nail him." Jenna spent days interviewing victims, cross-referencing my evidence with court records. Her article, published mid-September, was a sledgehammer. Portland's prodigal conman, a trail of broken promises. It detailed Ethan's scams, fake apps, sham startups, forged contracts, and named Diane and Paul as enablers who'd bailed him out repeatedly. The piece went viral locally, shared across social media, with comments calling Ethan a sociopath and questioning my parents' judgment. The fallout was swift. Diane called, hysterical. "Nathan, how could you? Dragging our family through the mud like this." Ethan's devastated. I let her rant, then said, "You sued me to fund his lies." Jenna just told the truth. "Blame him." I hung up, her sobs echoing in my mind. Paul emailed, accusing me of destroying the family and demanding I retract the article. I forwarded it to Sarah, who added it to our evidence pile. Lauren's world was crumbling too. The school board's investigation uncovered her role in Ethan's schemes. She'd used her position to connect him with wealthy parents, pitching his startups at school events. 2 families confirmed she'd introduced Ethan, leading to losses of $8,000 and $12,000. The board suspended her pending a full review, and her teaching career teetered on collapse. Sarah found more. Lauren had co-signed a lease for Ethan's apartment, using our joint credit card for the deposit. "She's not just complicit," Sarah said. "She's an accomplice. We're adding financial misconduct to the divorce filing." The article's ripple effects hit Ethan hardest. His latest investors, a group of local restaurateurs, pulled out after reading Jenna's piece. His website, a shoddy front for his startup, was taken down when his hosting company flagged it for fraud. Social media turned brutal. Former classmates and victims aired his dirty laundry, from unpaid debts to a restraining order from a college ex. Ethan's charm, his only currency, was worthless now, but Diane and Paul doubled down. At a family gathering I skipped, they rallied relatives, claiming I'd orchestrated the article to punish Ethan for falling in love. Tara texted me updates. "They're saying you were jealous of Ethan's potential and used your money to smear him." Aunt Linda's skeptical, but others are eating it up. Linda, Paul's sister, was a quiet ally. She'd always seen through Ethan's act. I messaged her, explaining the lawsuit and Jenna's article. Her reply was short. "I'm sorry. Nathan, they're wrong. Let me know how I can help." Work remained my anchor, though cracks showed. Leading the Portland office meant long hours. But my team noticed my distraction. During a code review, I missed a bug Greg caught, and he pulled me aside. "You're carrying a lot. Man, take a day if you need it." I thanked him, but pushed through, channeling my anger into Sarah's plan. Every victim statement, every bank record, was a brick in the wall I was building against Ethan's lies. One evening, I met Jenna at a coffee shop in Southeast Portland, its walls lined with local art. She slid a USB drive across the table. "More evidence," she said. "Emails from Ethan to my parents, promising 20% returns on his festival. Plus, a recording of him begging them not to sue." Her eyes gleamed with resolve. "This isn't just for you, Nathan. It's for everyone he's hurt." I nodded, gratitude mixing with exhaustion. "Your article changed everything. They're scrambling now." Jenna smiled, but her voice was firm. "Good. Let's keep the pressure on. He's not slipping away this time." Back home, I uploaded Jenna's files, my resolve stealing. Diane and Paul's lawsuit was a desperate grab, but Jenna's article and Sarah's legal arsenal were dismantling their facade. Lauren's complicity tied her to Ethan's sinking ship. The paternity question still loomed. Lauren's refusal to test fueled my doubts, but I was ready for the truth. Whatever it was, the counterattack wasn't just about revenge. It was about reclaiming my life from a family that had erased me. As I watched the city lights from my porch, the fight felt winnable, but the cost was already high. October's golden light filtered through the trees in Portland's Hawthorne district, casting long shadows across my bungalow's porch. Inside, I sat at my kitchen table, surrounded by legal documents and a cooling cup of coffee, my mind a tangle of resolve and dread. The past months had been a relentless storm. Lauren and Ethan's affair, exposed by security footage, Diane and Paul's lawsuit demanding I fund their new family, and Jenna's viral article that shredded Ethan's reputation. Lauren's refusal to take a paternity test for the baby she claimed was mine had left me in limbo. But Sarah's class action lawsuit against Ethan and the fraud investigation into Lauren's $5,000 transfer were gaining traction. Now, as the leaves fell, a pivotal truth emerged, reshaping my fight. Sarah called one crisp morning, her voice steady but urgent. "Nathan, the paternity test results are in. You're the father." I gripped the phone, my heart lurching. The test, ordered by the court after I pushed back on Lauren's vague claims, confirmed the baby. Due in a few months was mine. Relief flooded me. This child was my future, a piece of me untainted by betrayal. But the news was bittersweet. Lauren's infidelity and Ethan's possessive comments about our baby had sown doubt. And now I faced the reality of co-parenting with a woman I no longer trusted. "It's good news. Legally," Sarah said. "You've got a strong case for full custody, given Lauren's financial misconduct and Ethan's criminal history. But brace yourself. Lauren and Ethan are desperate. Their worlds are collapsing, and they might lash out." She wasn't wrong. 2 days later, as I worked from home on a new AI algorithm, my security system pinged. The front door camera showed Lauren and Ethan standing on my porch, her face tear-streaked, his jaw set with defiance. My stomach churned. I hadn't seen them since the confrontation in July, when I'd played the footage of their affair and kicked them out. Now, with Ethan's scams exposed and Lauren's teaching career in ruins, they were back, and I knew it wasn't for apologies. I opened the door, keeping the chain lock on. "What do you want?" I asked, voice flat. Lauren stepped forward, clutching her coat over her growing belly. "Nathan, we need to talk. About the baby. Our baby." "There's no our here," I said, eyeing Ethan, who hovered behind her, hands in his pockets. "Say what you came to say and leave." Lauren's voice cracked, calculated. "We're broke. Nathan, the school fired me. Ethan's accounts are frozen, and we have nowhere to go. We just want to co-parent. As a family, let us stay here until the baby's born. It's the right thing." I stared, incredulous. "You think I'd let you both of you into my house after what you did? You slept with my brother. Lauren, you stole from me. And you." I turned to Ethan. "You're a con man who targeted my wife. Get off my property." Ethan's mask slipped, his voice sharp. "Come on, man. You're rich. You've got this big house, a fancy job. We're family. Help us out." For the kid, his audacity was breathtaking. But I noticed the camera's red light blinking, recording every word. Sarah had advised keeping the system active, and it was paying off. "Family," I said, stepping closer. "You stopped being family when you crossed that line. And if you think I'm letting you near my child, you're delusional." Lauren sobbed. But Ethan's eyes narrowed, a threat forming. "You'll regret this, Nathan. We could make things messy, tell the courts you're unstable, that you're trying to cut us out." I smiled, cold and deliberate. "Try it." My cameras caught every word. "Keep talking." "Ethan, it's just more evidence." His face paled, and Lauren's tears stopped abruptly. They left without another word, but I knew they'd try again. I uploaded the footage to Sarah's secure server, my hands steady. "This is gold," she texted. "They just admitted to extortion." The legal fight intensified. Sarah presented the new footage in court, undermining Diane and Paul's lawsuit. The judge, already skeptical of their demands, ordered a deeper investigation into Ethan's finances, suspecting Diane had funneled money to hide his debts. Lauren's school board hearing was a disaster, Parents testified she'd used her role to pitch Ethan's scams, and her license was revoked. She faced potential fraud charges, tying her fate to Ethan's sinking ship. Amid the chaos, a new ally emerged. Linda, Paul's older sister, called one evening, her voice warm but heavy. "Nathan, I'm ashamed of my brother and Diane. What they're doing suing you. Defending Ethan is wrong. I saw Jenna's article, and I know Ethan's history. I want to help." We met at a diner near her Beaverton home, its neon sign buzzing in the dusk. Over pancakes, she shared stories of Ethan's childhood scams, stealing from her purse, lying to neighbors, and her regret for staying silent. "I'll testify," she said, "about Ethan's patterns. Diane's enabling. You don't deserve this." Her support was a balm, easing the sting of family betrayal. Linda's offer to be the witness strengthened Sarah's case, showing a pattern of Ethan's deceit stretching back decades. Tara, my cousin, texted her encouragement. "Linda's with you, and so am I." Diane's losing allies fast. Their loyalty reminded me I wasn't alone. Even as Diane's rumors calling me paranoid and abusive persisted among distant relatives, work remained my anchor. Though the strain showed, leading the Portland office meant mentoring new hires. But my focus wavered during a team meeting. Greg, ever perceptive, slipped me a coffee afterward. "You're a rock, man, but you don't have to carry this alone. We've got your back." His words, simple but sincere, kept me grounded. I threw myself into coding, finding solace in logic when emotions threatened to overwhelm. The paternity truth reshaped my perspective. Knowing the baby was mine gave me purpose. But also fear. Could I protect my child from Lauren's instability? Ethan's manipulation. Sarah was optimistic about custody, citing Lauren's fraud and Ethan's legal troubles. But the fight was far from over. Diane and Paul's lawsuit, now crumbling under the weight of evidence, was their last gasp to control me. Jenna's article had shifted public perception, and Linda's testimony would seal their fate in court. One night, I walked to Laurelhurst Park, the city's hum fading as I sat by the pond. The baby's future, my future, was at stake, and I'd fight for it with everything I had. Ethan and Lauren's porch stunt proved they were desperate, but desperation made them dangerous. With Sarah's strategy, Linda's support, and the truth on my side, I was ready for the final reckoning. The battle wasn't just for justice, it was for my child, my life, and the family I'd build without the shadows of betrayal. Spring bloomed across Portland's Hawthorne district, cherry blossoms painting the streets in soft pink. Inside my bungalow, the nursery was ready, pale blue walls, a crib, and a mobile of tiny stars for my daughter, Emma, born 2 months ago. The past year had been a crucible. Lauren and Ethan's affair, exposed by security footage. Diane and Paul's lawsuit demanding I fund their betrayal. Jenna's article that dismantled Ethan's lies, and the paternity test confirming Emma was mine. With Sarah's legal strategy and Linda's testimony, I'd fought for my future. Now, as I rocked Emma to sleep, her tiny breaths a quiet promise. The reckoning had arrived, and it was sweeter than I'd imagined. The legal battles peaked in January. Sarah's class action lawsuit against Ethan, backed by 8 victims, hit him like a tidal wave. The court froze his accounts, uncovering $50,000 in hidden funds Diane had funneled to dodge his creditors. The judge dismissed Diane and Paul's lawsuit against me, citing their complicity in Ethan's fraud. Sarah presented bank statements, victim testimonies, and the porch footage where Ethan and Lauren tried to extort me, demanding to move in. The judge's ruling was scathing. This family's actions are a disgrace to the concept of obligation. Diane sobbed in the courtroom. Paul stared at the floor. Their demand for $4,000 for Ethan, $2,500 for Lauren, and $30,000 for his sham startup was dead. Ethan's downfall accelerated. In February, an FBI sting caught him pitching a fake crypto scheme to an undercover agent posing as an investor. He'd fled to Seattle, thinking he could outrun Jenna's article, but the feds were waiting. Arrested on charges of wire fraud and money laundering, he faced up to 7 years. Diane and Paul sold their coastal cabin to cover his bail, but Ethan's victims, emboldened by Jenna's reporting, filed civil suits, ensuring he'd never recover financially. His charm, once a weapon, was useless behind bars. Lauren's world imploded too. The school board's investigation, sparked by her role in Ethan's scams, led to criminal charges for fraud. She'd used her teaching position to funnel parents' financial data to Ethan, costing 2 families $20,000 combined. The Department of Education banned her from teaching, and 3 parents sued her civilly. Broke and disgraced, she moved to a cheap apartment, her dreams of co-parenting with me buried under the wreckage of her choices. In court, Sarah's evidence, Lauren's $5,000 transfer to Ethan. Her complicity in his schemes destroyed her credibility. I won full custody of Emma, with Lauren granted supervised visits she hadn't yet pursued. Diane and Paul's social standing crumbled. Jenna's article turned them into pariahs in their church community, where Ethan had scammed elderly members. A planned intervention to paint me as unstable backfired when Linda, Tara, and a pastor exposed their lies. Relatives who'd believed Diane's rumors, calling me controlling, abusive, fell silent, some sending awkward apologies. Linda's testimony, detailing Ethan's lifelong deceit and Diane's enabling, was a turning point. Nathan's the victim here, she told the court. My brother and Diane chose a con man over their son. Her words, echoed in family group chats, shifted the narrative. Work steadied me through the chaos. Leading the Portland office, I mentored a growing team, my AI projects earning industry buzz. Greg, my coworker, became a brother of choice, joining me for beers after court hearings. You're a damn warrior, he said one night, clinking his glass. Emma's lucky to have you. His support, alongside Tara's texts and Sarah's relentless advocacy, reminded me family wasn't blood, it was loyalty. Then came the unexpected. In March, a local publisher, inspired by Jenna's article and my court victories, emailed me. Your story, Overcoming Betrayal. Fighting for your daughter is powerful. They wrote, would you consider writing a memoir? I hesitated. My life felt too raw for pages. But over coffee with Sarah, she urged me on. You've already lived it. Nathan, tell it. It's not just for you, it's for Emma. I signed a contract, outlining chapters at night while Emma slept. The advance was modest, but the act of writing was cathartic. A new career path I hadn't foreseen. Linda invited me to dinner at her Beaverton home in April, a cozy ranch house filled with the scent of lasagna. Sarah, Tara, and Greg joined us, their laughter a stark contrast to the family I'd lost. Over wine, Linda raised a glass to Nathan and Emma for building a life stronger than the one they tried to break. Sarah grinned, adding, and to justice served cold and sweet. Tara squeezed my hand, her eyes warm. You're not alone anymore, cousin. I shared the book deal, and Greg clapped my back. From code to prose, you're unstoppable. Linda's stories of my childhood, my robot building days, my quiet resilience grounded me. You were always enough, she said. Diane and Paul couldn't see it, but we do. The night ended with plans for a summer hike, a new tradition with the family I'd chosen. Emma's arrival had redefined my purpose. At night, I'd watch her sleep, her tiny fists curled, and vow to shield her from the chaos I'd endured. Lauren's betrayal, Ethan's greed, Diane and Paul's blindness had nearly broken me, but they'd forged something stronger. Custody secured. I enrolled Emma in daycare, planning a future of park picnics and coding lessons. The nursery's stars spun above her crib, a reminder of the light I'd found in the dark. Diane tried calling once, leaving a voicemail about healing as a family. I deleted it, her voice a relic of the life I'd outgrown. Paul's silence spoke louder. No apology, no accountability. Ethan, awaiting trial, sent a letter begging for money. I shredded it, his words as empty as his promises. Lauren's last text, months ago, pleaded for a fresh start. I didn't respond. Emma deserved better than her mother's lies. One evening, I walked to Mount Tabor Park, Portland's volcanic hill glowing under the sunset. The city stretched below, a canvas for my new life. The book deal, still in its infancy, was a chance to turn pain into purpose, to show Emma resilience through my words. Linda, Sarah, Tara, Greg, they were my family now, bound by choice, not obligation. The reckoning wasn't just Ethan's arrest or Lauren's ruin. It was my freedom, my daughter's future, and the strength I'd claimed. As I headed home to Emma, the weight of the past lifted, replaced by a quiet, hard-won peace.